Hello my lovelies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet these simple leg warmers. We are still in the deep of winter, so these are going to be very beneficial for when you're going out in the cold and you need something to give you that extra warmth. This is going to be why you need to make these ASAP. They're very simple to make, they go really fast, and it's a nice design. It has a good texture that you can appreciate the work that goes into it here, but it actually does not make it very difficult to make at all. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these guys started. Okay my lovelies, so before we get this project started, I'm going to show you the materials that we're using for it. And as you can see here, I have my yarn. I'm going to use this orange color yarn here. It's by Hobby. It's called We Heart yarn. It's 100% acrylic. This skein here is 50 grams. It's a lightweight number 3, and recommended hook size is 4 to 5 millimeter crochet hook, or US G to H, which is 6 to 8, and this color is number 4, so you'll just hear me referring to it as orange if I do have to refer to the color. So that's what we're using. So probably get about 3 skeins of this, because you'll probably use about 2.5 or so. I'm gonna be using my 4.25 millimeter crochet hook, which is a G6. I have my darning needle here, my scissors, as well as a tape measure to determine our size. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to create a foundation chain, and we're going to be working on these leg warmers, and it's gonna be from the base, so from our ankle moving upwards. So which means the sizing is going to change as we go up. So what I will need you guys to do at this time is take your tape measure and measure your ankle. So just go around your ankle, pretty much where your leg warmer is gonna start, and measure it around like this. And whatever size that you come up with, we're gonna be doing a foundation chain that is going to have that size after we do our first row. Okay, so for example, my ankle in inches is about 7.5 inches. So this is pretty much the size here, like this. This is the size of my ankle here, like this. And without stretching it, this is what we're looking to do. Okay, so let's say yours come up to 10, then we're going to try and get the base of our project to start at this at that size. So I will show you what we're talking about here. So I'm going to do a chain of 32. Okay, so we do our slip knot like that, and then we start our chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that is my chain of 32 right here. Okay, so if I bring my tape measure in and I place that here, okay, as you will see, my tape measure is a little bit let's make this straight. My tape measure is a little bit stiff, so if I put that down like this, it's at 7.5. Okay, so this is why we're doing this. So whatever the amount of chains or however long, or the in inches how wide your ankle is, then you're going to do this to correspond with that. So as you can see, that's what we're doing by starting this part of it. All right, so we're going to use these 2 last chains as our turning chain. So we're going to start the next row, which is we skip 1 and 2, and in the third we're going to do a double crochet in the back of that chain there, of that stitch. Okay, so like that. Then we're going to move on to the next, and we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, just like that. For those of you who are new, double crochet is pretty much you yarn over, you go into this stitch, bring it back, you will end up with 3 loops on the hook like this. You're gonna yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through the final 2 loops, and that's pretty much what you're doing to the end of the chain. So go ahead and do that and meet me when you get to the end. Okay my lovely, so I have completed the first row here. It's just a row of double crochets in the back of the foundation chain, and as you can see, it's just a simple row like that. So again, just to make sure we're working with the measurements that are going to be our size here, we're going to take the tape measure again, and we're going to place it where we know it's going to bring us to that 7.5. So make sure you're not losing this length. if you do lose the length and it becomes a lot wider than what you had started with, it's probably because you need to reduce the size of your hook, or you're crocheting too loose. And if it becomes too small compared to the size that we wanted initially, then it's the same thing. Either you're crocheting too tight or you're using too small of a crochet hook size, okay? So again, this is based on this crochet hook size and based on the size of yarn that I'm using. And like I said, these are 3 lightweight, and the crochet hook is, you can get away with 4.5. These are 4.25. So in that sense, it's not such a big difference. But also you have to know how you crochet. Do you crochet tight? Do you crochet loose? These kind of things will matter when it comes to you gaining the right size that you want. Okay, so we're going to do our second row, and keep in mind again, when we're measuring, we're not stretching. So don't stretch, because if you stretch, it's gonna become a lot wider, and we want it to be not be stretched when you're measuring it, because you want it to be able to be comfortable. So the size that we measured, my 7.5, is if I do from one side of the ankle to the other without leaving too much room for movement. And because there's a stretch to it, then that's why that we get that movement. But we also want our leg warmer to fit us nice and tight, okay, so it doesn't fall off. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the second row, and we're just going to start with doing chain 2 like that and turning. And now we're going to work our front post and back post double crochets. And for the front post, we're going to yarn over. We're going to take not this stitch right here. This stitch here responds to the 2 chains we just did. So the next stitch will be that one here. So we're gonna go around the double crochet from the previous row like this, and bring the yarn back. You have 3 loops, and then you yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the final 2. So it's just, we're doing a double crochet like a normal double crochet, except we are going around or behind the previous double crochets. So for this next one, it's going to be a back post double crochet. So we yarn over, we go around the back like this, and we bring our yarn, and make sure you're stretching it, you're pulling it up so that it matches the size of the previous one. And you're going to yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the final 2, and then you go back to doing a front post double crochet. So you just alternate at this point, where you do a back loop, a front loop, a back loop, front loop, back post, front post, double crochet. So you just alternate this. For those of you who have seen other projects, you will know what this stitch is. I'm explaining it more in details for the beginners who are not familiar with what this is. Okay, so you just do your front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and you alternate those until you get to the end. And when you have one final stitch at the end left, which is going to be this final guy here at the end, this one, come back, and I will show you how to finish that off and start the next row, which is going to be repeated for the next couple of rows. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I've completed the second row here, and as you can see, I still have that final stitch here to do. So I will just quickly show you that, and then I will start the next row so we can continue to repeat that. Okay, so for this final one here, we're going to go over and then go into, was the chain 2 that we, or the chain 2 that we skipped earlier when we started the first row. So we're going to go on top of the chain 2. So we're going to go on top of that stitch and do our double crochet there. Okay, so what this does is it lines these up to this part, and then they pretty much kind of all line up like this, and that also ends up matching with when we started our chain 2. We worked into the next stitch with the first front post. Okay, so we're moving on to the third row, and for this third row is going to be repeated until we have 6 rows. And this is going to be very easy, because what we're doing at this point is we're just going to follow the pattern. So I will show you what I mean by that. We will do a chain 2, 1, 2. So you always do a chain 2 at the beginning, and you turn. So now if we look at our work like this, we don't do anything with the first stitch ever, okay? Because we are doing something by doing the chain 2, we're doing something off for that stitch. So the next stitch we're always going to work with is the next one. So then if we look at our work like this, our next stitch lays in the back of this row. So we're going to do a back loop, a back post double crochet on that. And on this next one here, it lays on the front side. So we're going to do a front post double crochet on that. So we're going to be following this. And if you flip our work back like this, it's the exact opposite. Where I'm going to be doing my back loop double crochet is where it is a front post right now. And where I'm going to be doing my front post is where it is right now, a back post. Okay, so just follow that pattern where you're just repeating, going where the previous one is laying. So we're gonna yarn over and we're gonna do a back post double crochet right here. Okay, like that. And then we're going to go into the next and do a front post because that is laying in the front. And then the next one is going to be a back post because it's laying in the back. And we just repeat these, and as you can see, they line up like that. Gives you a valley here and a place here that kind of comes up, and then the next part is a valley and then it comes up. Okay, so we're just going to continue to do this all the way to the end. When you get to the end, don't forget to do your double crochet on top of the chain 2 that we did, and then chain 2, turn, and then repeat. And we're going to do that for a total of 6 rows. So this is 3. I'm working on my 3rd row now. So after I finish this, I will have 3 more rows to do. And when I have 6 total rows, then I will come back and I will show you guys what to do with the next one. Okay, all right, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 6 rows here. So as you can see, this is the pattern that it creates when we do the back post, front post. This is pretty much what you get. So this is going to be what goes around my ankle. So when we end up joining it together, the 2 sides, this is where my ankle is gonna go. Okay, so if this looks a little bit small to you, what I'm going, because I want it to fit properly, so it's going to be one of those things when you fold it and you sew it here shut, you're going to need to force your toes here and your, especially your heel, for it to come through. The other option that you have, instead of doing it closing this part completely, you can either create buttons for here, or you can create a little strap that goes around here so that you can remove it, and after you put it on, you can pull it tight and close it. So those are all options that are available, but I'm going to do this for the sake of this tutorial. I'm going to do it where we close this part here completely, and I know I will be able to squeeze my leg in here, so that is not a problem for me. All right, so we're going to start the next part. And speaking of sizing, we're going to increase the first row here because we do want it to start to get wider. Because why? Our legs get bigger as it goes from our ankle upwards, or from our, from the bottom of our leg going up, it gets bigger naturally. Okay, that's just how we are made. So I'm going to increase every other row here, every other stitch, and that's going to widen this place a little bit here. So I will show you how I'm doing that. Depending on how quickly big your leg, especially going towards your calf, gets, you could increase in every single row, in every single stitch. But I'm doing this because I don't have very big big calf. It's I have skinny legs, just so you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, all right, so I'm going to chain 2 like this, and I'm going to turn my work around. Okay, and then I am going to work a double crochet into this next stitch here like that. And in the next stitch, in that same stitch, because this chain 2 counts as a stitch, so that is my first stitch. This, in this second place, I'm going to do 2 stitches there like this. Then I'm going to do 1 stitch here, so 1 double crochet, and then the next one here I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So this is where I'm starting to increase. Okay, and then in the next stitch I do 1 double crochet in that stitch. In the next stitch I do 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Okay, and we continue to do this all the way until we get to the end of the row. You increase every other row, every other stitch, and or you increase on every stitch depending on how wide you want it to get. Okay, so again, measure your calf, or the widest part of your calf, and you can increase based on what the circumference of that part of your leg is. But for now, just increase until you get to the end here, then come back and I will show you guys what to do in the next row. All right, so we have reached almost the end here. I have 2 stitches to go, and as you can see here, I did 2 double crochets in that stitch and then 1 double crochet in this stitch. So now I will do 2 double crochets in this next stitch here, Okay, so just continuing the pattern, I do 2 double crochets in the stitch, and then I have one final stitch here to do 1 double crochet at the end. So what this does is it kind of lines it up with this side where our chain 2 counted as a stitch, and then in the next stitch we did 2 double crochets, and then we alternated that way. Okay, so as you can see now we're getting a much wider part of the project here because we have increased, so now it's quite wide where we'll then build it wider. Okay, so when we join it, this part is going to be like that. Okay, all right, so we're going to start the next row, and this next row, just pay attention, we're not going to do a row of double crochet, we're going to do a row of half double crochet. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and in this row we're going to go into the back loop of our stitches to do our half double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, not the one where the chain 2 comes or the chain 1 comes from, the very next one after that. We're going to go in the back loop and we're going to do a half double crochet like that. Okay, and then we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, grabbing the back loop and doing a half double crochet, and of course continuing this all the way to the end. And this will create the rib pattern that we see on the leg warmers as I showed you at the beginning. Okay, and you don't have to do it like this. You can go through both loops. You're just not going to create that pattern that we see on these particular leg warmers. And for the sake of this tutorial, it will be good if you follow what I'm doing here as opposed to improvising the type of stitch that you're using. Yeah, so we're just going to do this all the way to the end. When you get to the final stitch, we're going to go through both loops, and then we're going to turn and start the next row. But for now, just work this to the end. I will show you how to do the next row, and then I'll have you repeat that until you get the length, and I'll show you how you can get the length of what you're looking for as well. Okay, for now just work to this end and then come back. Okay, my lovely, so I have completed the second row of this part here, and I did half double crochets in the back loop, and as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks like. Okay, and as you can see, the work stays widened here. So I'm going to show you the next row, and then I'll have you guys build up the rest of the project until we have to do a bend similar to this at the end. Okay, so for this next row, we're going to do a row of double crochets. So for this part, just so in case you haven't noticed yet, we're going to be alternating between a row of double crochet in the back loop and a row of double crochet of half double crochet in the back loop, and a row of double crochet in the back loop, a row of half double crochet in the back loop. Okay, so we have just completed one of the half double crochet in the back loop, obviously with an exception of the first one here. We didn't go in the back loop because we're creating the double crochet stitches. Okay, all right, so for this row we're going to chain 2 and turn, and as you remember, for this previous row we did a chain 1 and turned. Okay, so make sure if you're doing a double crochet, you're doing chain 2. If you're doing a half double crochet, you're doing a chain 1. Now that we've done that, I'm going to yarn over and go in the back of the next stitch and do my double crochet, and then go in the next stitch and do a double crochet, a row of do a double crochet on the next stitch, and you're just going to do that all through the row, going in the back loop obviously, until you have one final stitch, and then you're going to go through both loops for that final stitch, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn and start a row of the half double crochet in the back loop, and then you're going to finish that row, chain 2, start your row of double crochet in the back loop, and that's what we're alternating until you go all the way to how long you want it to be. Okay, so speaking of that, I'm just going to put this down for a second so I can explain the length. So for the length, again, you're going to bring your tape measure in. I use inches. You can use whatever measurement units you want. You're going to measure from the base of your ankle, okay, and you're going to measure all the way up however long you want it to be. And you're not going to do this number of rows to be that length, because we're going to do another 6 rows of the back post, front post, double crochet. So in that case, measure what that length is. We have about 2 inches in this. So when you have your total length, let's say it comes up to 12 inches, and this is how long your leg warmers is going to be, including the top of it that's going to be done like this. Then you're going to measure what you have already, and you're going to work it all the way until you have 10 inches. okay, because we need these 2 inches to do the band like this. So your total work without the band on top but including the bottom one is going to be 10 inches, and it's going to be this wide. When you have 10 inches, then come back, and then we will do this to add the extra 2 inches that we need to make it the total 12, because that's the length that you're looking for. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So go ahead and work this project until you have what you're looking for. When you have established the length minus 2 inches, then come back and I will show you how to start this here. But just make sure you're finishing your final row like this is going to be off the double crochet. Why? Because we're going to need to do the back post, front post, and we can only work with that when we have the double crochet stitches to work into. Okay, all right, so go ahead and work that, and then I'll see you guys when you have your length of your leg warmer minus the 2 inches. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the length here that I'm looking for. We still have to do the bordering here. So as you can see, the length just looks like that. And of course, when we finish and we've done the bordering as well, we're going to be joining our leg warmer like this, so that we can then wear it with this being the bottom part and this is going to be the top part. Okay, all right, so as I said in the previous clip, make sure you end it with a double crochet row like I did here. So as you know, we alternated between the half double crochet and the double crochet. So the half double crochet is a little bit shorter and the double crochet is a little bit elongated, and that's what we have so far. So then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show you how to do this pattern on this end here. And also, as you can notice, that it's smaller on this side and it's gonna be bigger on this side because, as you can tell, it's wider because we increased our project at the beginning here. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our back post, front post, double crochets. And since we did 6 rows here, we're gonna be doing 6 rows on that end as well, so that we can attain the same length or the same width for both sides. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get it ready here. So this is where I have completed my final row of the double crochet. So I'm going to do a chain of 2 and I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to do my front post in the next stitch here. So just going in like this and completing my front post double crochet. Then I'm going to go in the back and do my back post double crochet. And then we're going to move on to the next and alternate by doing the front post double crochet. So at this moment here, there's nothing different from what we did here. So we started this row by doing the first row was the double crochet row, which is what we have here. And then the next 5 rows are of the back post, front post alternation for 5 rows. So this is going to be my second row that I'm doing here, because this double crochet row is my first row. So you're gonna do this pretty much just like we did this section here, and go ahead and do 6 rows total. When you have the 6 rows, you're gonna come back to the video and we should have something very similar to this, except it's gonna be wider on the top part because of the increases that we did here to make the work a little bit wider. Okay, so go ahead and repeat this, and I will see you guys when you have your 6 rows completed total. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the 6 rows that we did at the beginning here. So we just matched it up at the end. So this is pretty much the one piece for our leg warmer. Okay, so because we've finished this, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the yarn, and we're gonna leave the string a little bit long just so we can be able to use that to join the work together. Okay, but for this part, we are done with it. And what I will do here is I will just do a slip knot so we can kind of lock this in so it doesn't unravel. So just like that. And then now we have one piece that is completed. And then of course, when we join it, we're gonna be folding it like this and then joining it on this side like this. And then that's gonna be our leg warmer. Okay, but what I want you to do is go ahead and do another one exactly the same as this. So pretty much start how we started here. If you don't remember, please go ahead and rewind the video to the beginning and then do another panel, another piece of it like this. And when you have both pieces completed, come back and I will show you how to then fold and join and then we will be done with the project. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have your second pair done. Okay, my lovelies, I've gone ahead and completed my second panel here for the leg warmer. So as you can see, we have two now that are exactly identical. So we're gonna go ahead and set up the joining of the two. So I'm just gonna take one panel and put it on the side because we don't need it right now, but we will obviously need it in the next couple of minutes. But when it comes to joining it, you can do it at any side, so there's no, both sides are exactly the same, so you can either do it that way or this way. So just figure out what side you want to join it in, and then go ahead and line it up very nice and easy like this. And then what you will do, make sure you have your darning needle. We're gonna flip it to this side because this is where we have our long string that we're gonna be using it to join. And of course, you're gonna bring that in and you're gonna put it, the darning needle, like that. Okay, and then you're just going to make sure you line up your work nice and easy like that, and then you're gonna start joining. Okay, so you're just gonna grab the darning needle and put it through from one side to the other like this. What I do is for that first section there, I do it multiple times just to make sure I actually have it very nice and tight like that. Okay, and then you're just gonna move your needle to the next spot, so make sure you're spacing it very nice and close, but not too close to each other that they're going in the same space, but not too far apart that they're gonna end up leaving a gap for your leg warmers. So you're just gonna do it very nice like that, so very easily spaced or evenly spaced, because we don't have actual stitches to work with here. So you're gonna need to make sure you're just kind of lining it up in a very nice and easy way. Okay, so you're gonna do this all the way. It's gonna get a little bit easier when you get to this part here, but still there's no actual stitches to work with, and you're gonna join it all the way until you get to this end here. Okay, when you have gotten to this end here, come back to the video. I will show you how to finish that off and remove it, and then we will obviously do the same for the second pair, and then we will be done our leg warmers. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So I've gone ahead and joined these leg warmer. As you can see, we just kind of joined it all the way here. I've reached the end. I've removed my darning needle. So what I will do for this, which is this the beginning of the project here with a little bit of a tail, and this is the tail I have left from the sewing of the sides together. So I'm just going to knot these here about 2-3 times just to make it a strong knot so it doesn't come off. And then we're going to cut off the excess yarn. So we'll just snip this here and snip that there. And for those of you who weave your work in, go ahead and do that, but I prefer to do it like this. And then what I usually do, because this is the part that we joined here, so it does have a little bit of a showing there, what I do is I flip it to the other side just to have a little bit more of a cleaner side. You don't have to do this, obviously. If you've sewn it together and it looks nice and neat, then that's all good. But often I flip my work like this so that the inside of it becomes my outside and the outside becomes my inside, like that. Okay, so that is one of your leg warmers finished here. Okay, and so you're gonna go ahead and join the second one the same way that we just did this one, and then when you have the second one completed as well, we're gonna look at both of them together and we're gonna finish off the project. Okay, all right, see you guys in a minute. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and joined the two leg warmers together. So as you can see, this is how they look like. And again, as you can see here, this side is a little bit smaller than this, so this is gonna be the side that goes on the ankle, and then this is the side that goes above, a little bit towards your knee, but it's gonna be just a little bit below your knee. If you happen to make this long enough that it goes past your knee, then of course this is gonna end up landing wherever that length is, but for me it's gonna be just right below my knees. Yeah, but this is pretty much the two leg warmers here, all done, ready to be worn, ready to be put on, so we can go out in the cold and enjoy our nice walks without feeling too cold. Yeah, this is pretty much it here. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end, and I hope you guys really like what you created here. And of course, use the different colors that you have, because I happen to use this color, but I'm sure you guys will do it in the colors that you prefer. yeah, this is pretty much it here. Thank you so much again. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and also make sure you turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post new videos. Okay, all right, thank you so much again. See you in the next one. Bye.